thank you and welcome back to my channel. So as promised, this is going to be part 2 from last week's video. So last week we did went in and do an unboxing of Sephora makeup haul with all these products right here, and this week we're watching the part 2 right now, which we're going to go in and try all the products for Sephora makeup haul from last week. Also story time with us moving. So if you read the title, it's time to say goodbye. So this video is going to be the last video that we're going to be in this studio right here as we're moving into a future better studio in a week. Yeah, so if you're interested in this makeup look and follow me on my move, don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel right down below, ring the bell button right here for next week, not next week, for future video. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media at bella.c.snow. Also, you can go in and follow me on my Instagram story. I post probably a lot of stuff there every single day. And while you're there, don't forget to check out my IGTV. I post a smaller version of every single story up there also. So I guess let's get this makeup started. So just to start out with this makeup look, I'm just going to go in with my moisturizer. My makeup moisturizer I'm going to use is from the Embryolist Leg Creams Concentré. So I use this a lot for my makeup. And I love this one because it's so hydrating. And since my skin is a little bit more drier these days because I've been tanning and staying outside, I need the extra hydration for this makeup look. And for this week primer, I'm just going to go in with the Professional. This my currently new favorite primer. Is going to keep your skin more hydrated, also pore minimizing at the same time. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my hand, get it really work in there, and I'm just going to mostly concentrate on my more like T-zone on this area. Majority I have a little bit more texture around my nose, also a little bit more on my cheeks. So I'm mostly just going to make sure I press it in right in there. And now next up we're gonna go in with the foundation. The foundation that I always use these days is from the MUSE Cosmetics. So this one is my all-time new favorite foundations. It's gonna keep your skin a little bit more hydrated if you have a little bit more normal to drier skin. And I love and obsessed with this foundations. And since I'm a little bit more tan from like letting out the sun and tanning, I'm gonna go in and mix a little bit of the Too Faced Cosmetics Born This Way concealer. This one is in golden beige. It's have a little bit more yellow undertone, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of it and I'm just gonna put it right there to add a little bit more warmth to my foundation. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix those two together to keep that foundation a little bit more deeper, which is kind of hopefully it's going to match with my skin tone and my chest and everything a little bit more better. And I think that's kind of closer to my skin tone with a little bit more golden tone from like all the tanning. So with the brush I'm using is actually from a bronzer brush. I love this one because it's a little bit more denser right here, so it's perfect for my foundations. Also it doesn't applying as much foundation, so it's applying more like a sheer layer to start out. So now I'm just going to apply that to my cheek area. So with the title, if you haven't known or watched me on my Instagram IGTV, actually not IGTV, Instagram story, we're actually in the middle of moving. So by the time you're watching this video, it's going to be our last week here in this studio right here in our house right here. So this is our first house that we staying at actually, and because before that we actually moved from like a lot of apartment, and then since we got married we think like we want to move into like a better like an actual house. So this is actually our first house, and now we've been staying here for like a while, and I think we found our dream home, I would say. So we'll be moving into that next week. So this is going to be our last week and probably going to be the last video I'll be filming in this studio right here. So with that said, it's probably gonna take me a little bit, a week or two to get adjusted, because we're still picking out which room gonna be my studio, because there's like we have a couple of rooms we can pick from. That Andre need his studio, his like office, I need my office, and with all this lighting, like which room gonna fit, and then yeah, it's a lot. So it's probably gonna take us a week or two to adjust and then get everything to settle. So probably you're gonna have to wait a little bit after this video for a new video coming up, so just be patient with us on that one because we kind of like in a little bit more moving. So right after me filming this video, we actually have to go and pack, and everything in here had to come down. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of packing this week. Okay, so the first products I'm gonna try in from like the haul from last week is actually, again, it's the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I already did an unbox on this one, so I'm not gonna show you the unboxing. You can watch that one on my last video. But pretty much I just bought like a different lighter color, since the one that we put on before is from Golden Beige, and I usually use my under eyes the color Nude right here. So this was my foundations, Golden Beige. This was my under eye called Nude, but then I feel like I need a little bit more lighter, since Nude is a little bit more pinker undertone. That's gonna help lighting and correcting the blue undertone, because sometimes if you have a little bit more darker circle, pink gonna help correcting that and help lighting and brightening that area. But I feel like I just need a little bit more warmer shade, but it's still in a lighter tone. So I picked the color Vanilla to be my under eye color. So we're just gonna go in and crack that open, and we're gonna go in, and it's like a fresh bottle. I haven't used this one yet, so I'm just gonna put that all over on my under eye as my concealer. So if you notice, this one have a little bit more yellow undertone. It's not like the Nude that is one step up. They have a little bit more pinker undertone, so I feel like this one gonna be a little bit more better for my undertone. So since I have a little bit more yellow undertone, I don't really need a lot of color correcting under my eyes. So I'm just gonna put it wherever I usually put my concealer. And now that my concealer is in there, I'm just gonna go in with my concealer brush. I'm just gonna go in and blend that out. So I like to use with my my brush in first, because that way I have a little bit more control of where my concealer gonna go and how much density I want it to be in that area. So I want to keep it focused on this area right here and don't want it to blend it everywhere. I'm just gonna help use my brush to do all that work for me, and just gonna blend out with my brushes. And as you know already, I'm already obsessed with this concealer because you get a lot of money up your butt from this concealer. It's coming like a kind of like a larger package than any other concealer, and also a little bit more cheaper. And the quality of the concealer is really good one. It's going to give you a little bit more medium to fuller coverage. You can actually use this concealer as like foundations, or add into foundation to slightly change the color undertone of it, like the way I did it before. So I'm just gonna leave my nose concealer right there. Now I'm just gonna go in with my beauty blender and just make sure I press and blend everything in. And since we've been home all the time, do you feel weird to like putting on makeup? Like sometimes you like forgetting steps. Like I've been forgetting a lot of steps lately. If I have to go out and have to like pull up my face, like I don't have to do that a lot these days, because we have to go out and like we're wearing a mask anyway. So majority of the photo I don't wear any makeup because nobody can see you anyway, because with the mask and the glasses and everything, which is kind of nice in a way. And I'm just gonna go in with the cream contouring, and the color that I use a lot is from the Tarte's Pro Glow palette. I used this before. So there's a color right in there that called Shade. So that's gonna be my contouring color. Normally I go in with a Huda Beauty color, but currently it's a little bit more too red for my skin tone right now, because it's actually a little bit more like a bronzer. But I actually want a little bit more greater tone for contouring, not a bronzer shade. So I'm just gonna go in with the Tarte's Pro Glow palette right here with the color Shade as my cream contouring. So I'm just gonna dip my brush in there a little bit. And I'm not going to put directly into my face, but I'm just going to blend a little bit more on the back of my hand to make sure I don't get too much at the same time. So now I'm just going to applying it slowly right where I want a little bit more contouring. If you notice, my concealer on my center of my nose is still going to be right there. I'm going to blend it out after I put in my cream contouring, because I feel like it's just going to give you a little bit more cleaner line that way, rather than you just blend that out and then you have to fix it a little bit more later. So normally I'm just going to leave it there to like make it tacky a little bit, because sometimes it's going to create a little bit more fuller coverage that way also. So with the same shade from the Tarte's Pro palette, I'm just also going to use that as my nose contouring. And just to buff and blend the nose contouring, I'm just going to go in with a little bit more fluffier brush. This is actually my eyeshadow brush, but I feel like it's going to be perfect on my nose contouring to blend that out rather than go in with like a big beauty blender. Sometimes you don't see where you're blending. So with the brush, you get a little bit more controlling that way. And after that, I'm just gonna move into like a smaller brush to blending out my concealer on the center. You can always go in with a beauty blender a little bit more later. Okay, so now that my cream contouring and my concealer is in there, I'm just gonna add in a little bit more glow. And you know my favorite one is Hollywood Flawless Future Glow. So this one is number 4 in medium. And I'm just gonna put that right on top of where I usually put my highlight. So with this one, it's gonna give you a little bit more inner glow, like glowing from within rather than more like highlighting glow. So it's kind of like blending in with your skin a little bit more better. It's gonna help blending out everything, merging from your concealer into your bronzer, and everything just gonna be a perfect gradient. And with that, you can just go in with your beauty blender, or you can just go in with your brush. So now I'm just gonna go in with my beauty blender to help kind of just stay on that area where my highlight is with this products. If you can see, it's kind of give you that little bit more like a skin sheen, like you kind of drink a lot of water, which I need to do. So with that product, you can actually wear it alone. I usually don't like to wear it alone because I feel like you get a little bit too much shine all over your face if you're wearing it alone, but it tends to be like a really sheer foundations if you like it to be. But just be really careful of not using it too much, and then you again look like a tin man or like really glowy and really oily looking. And now that everything is blended the way I want it, now we're just gonna go in with another product that we opened box from last week haul. That's gonna be the JOUER powder soft focus hydrating powder right here. So this meant to be like more like a set powder, and I opened it last week before, and again I'm like obsessed with this thing right here. And I think last week I said Louis Vuitton, but it's still a little bit more like Gucci. So yeah, so I'm just gonna use this one to like set for my all over face. It does have a little bit more like color to it, but with this one it's gonna give your skin a little bit more hydrating to your skin. So for my skin tone, I feel like for my skin texture, I feel like it's a little bit more perfect because I have a little bit more drier skin. So I need anything that's a little bit more hydrating rather than something that is more mattifying. And majority powder tend to be a little bit more mattifying, and I feel like that's just kind of bad for you. I'd rather be a little bit more dewy and glowy rather than more matte finish. So I tend to pick a lot of powder that have a little bit more hydrating powder property in it. It's like weird to say that powder is hydrating, but some powders tend to be can be a little bit more hydrating for your skin rather than other powder. Depends on what kind of products they have in the powder. But so far, I love this powder. It's very similar to like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish powder. So this one is very similar to each other. I think the price is very similar to each other also. And now at this point, I like to go in with my bronzer, and the one I'm gonna go in is my favorite, the JOUER bronzer. The one I'm using is in medium to deep duo in Sun Kiss and Sunset. So with this one, I'm gonna use more like a blush brush from e.l.f. I'm gonna dip into like a lighter color, and then if I feel like I need a darker color, I'm just gonna go into that like on the outer corner. But majority, I'm just gonna go in with like the lighter color and more like a tapping motions. So we've been looking at houses since beginning of like, I won't say beginning of this month. It's like kind of start of the mid-April that we start looking for houses. And it was like, ooh, I don't know how you're going to look for houses. Do people still like open the door for you to go inside to like look? Or because majority of the house we're looking at, they are doing like more visual tool, like which is to kind of like bring in a camera and they kind of record a video of how the house looks like from the outside, inside, the rooms and all of that. And it's kind of hard for you to do a house shopping when you do just seeing like a visual tool and like just buy the house or get a house. So I'm like, you can't really know a house by doing that. So we just have to like skip a lot of different good house that only doing visual tool because they want to keep everybody safe. A real estate lady kind of like called us and like, oh, when you come to once the house viewing, we all have to wear like face masks, like full coverage and masks and gloves, and she's doing the same. And one of the house we went to look at, she's actually staying in the car. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go in, you're gonna stay in the car. I'm just gonna go in and unlock the door of the house really quick. And then we're gonna be on the phone. You two just gonna walk in and view the house, and we're gonna talk on the phone like that way. So it's kind of like, okay. So she went in and kind of like unlocked the door. And then after we seen her unlock the door, she ran into her car. And then okay, let's get out the car and go see the house. So it's kind of like a weird way to viewing house these days. The house that we're getting right now, actually the lady, she actually get out the house, but she called us the day before like, oh, make sure you come in like a full mask and gloves, full gear and everything, which I feel kind of a little bit more weird because when you go into house viewing, me and Andre both wearing masks and gloves, and our mask and gloves is like black, and we have sunglasses, so it look like we're kind of like going into like rob a place each time we go viewing a house. It's like hilarious. Each time I get out the car, it's kind of like, oh, let's take off my mask really quick so she don't think that I'm kind of like going in here to rob the place. So that's been a process for like the past month or so to go to look at houses with full mask and everything. So each time we go in places, look like we're about to rob the house. So yeah. So that's how you like house shopping these days. It's super weird and it's super uncomfortable. Okay, so now that all my skin products is already in there, my bronzer, my foundations, and everything is blended. Now I'm just gonna go in and rehydrate my skin with more like a rose water. The one I'm using right now is the Vansanti rose water. Any rose water or anything that hydrate your skin would be fine. And now that everything is ready, now we're gonna go in and do the fun part, and that's gonna be baking. So with baking is more like totally optional. Not everybody's skin type and skin texture can kind of like hold baking technique. So this part is totally optional. You can totally just skip this part. You don't have to like bake anything. But if you do, that's what we're gonna do. So last week we're unboxing the Huda Beauty baking powder. So this one, she came out with a different type of powder, and I used this one before, and then she created this one meant for baking. Inside it say baking made easy. Baking made easy. Dip dense brush our beauty sponge into powder net. Pack a generous layer under the eye and a corner through the temple, T-zone, outer corner of the mouth and chin. Let powder bake for 3 to 5 minutes while applying the rest of the makeup. So usually I like to put on my bake and do my eye makeup at the same time. So while I do my eye makeup, my baking is baking. Using a fluffy brush gently does away excess powder. And here is the color. So the color I'm using is in Banana Bread. She does have a larger range of different color. So with baking, you kind of like need quite a bit of powder, and again there's like a net in there for you to kind of like control the amount of powder you're gonna use. So first off, for baking, so with my sponge right here, I'm just gonna press lightly into there, dab up some of the excess, and the first thing I like to bake is on the side of my nose. And my favorite tool to do my sides and nose is kind of like this sponge right here that you get from like your compact. Like MAC compact have this one, so I just take this out, fold it in more like a taco shape, and you press the powder. That way you kind of get more like a straighter line rather than using like a brush and trying to get a straighter line, because sometimes I kind of like anal about it. Like baking line, I want it to be as straight as possible, so that way you get a little bit more straight line, especially if you do more like baking on the center of your nose. Put taco shape, and that's gonna be perfect straight lines right there. So now I'm just gonna go in and put in the rest of my bake. So everybody's face is like more different, so everybody baking technique and its different shape gonna be a little bit more different. So for me, I just like to put a little bit bake under my chin, my jawline. No, that's not jawline. My cheekbone. And this sponge is from the Real Technique sponge. I like it because I have a little bit more like a flat shape right here. So you can use this one to like give you a little bit more straighter line, and the other edge for like your under eye. And I usually like to go in like a second layer because sometimes the first layer is not really sticking in there. And sometimes with the under eye, I'm just gonna go in with like a brush and dip that into the powder, and that way I get a little bit more less powder under my eyes, so I don't get a little bit too drying right under here. So it's still baking, but the powder, the amount of powder under the baking here is a little bit more looser, a little bit more translucent. So that way the powder doesn't dry out the under eye as much. And sometimes when I know that my baking is right in there at this step, I like to go in with my bronzer again and my bronzer brush. I'm just gonna dip into a little bit more darker color. And now I kind of like know what the shape is, so now I'm just gonna go in and slightly kind of like put in my bronzer right in there again. That way it's gonna give you a little bit more sharper line right there. And I know it might look a little bit more darker now, but once you blend everything out, everything gonna be a little bit more sheer. It's not gonna be as dark. Okay, so now that everything is baking, let's go do my eye makeup. So the first thing I'm gonna go in to do my eye makeup is gonna go in with the P. Louis space right here. The color is 01 in Rumor, and again, I'm just gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand. And another funny part about moving or interesting is Andre have to go to the bank, and I don't know how a lot of people complaining about wearing masks to the supermarket. Andre had to go to the bank, and at first we don't know like, do you wear a mask to a bank? Because usually you don't wear a mask to the bank because it might think you go into the bank with robbing with like black gloves, black clothes, black mask, fully covered and everything. But then Andre went to the bank, and when he got back, he told me, oh, you have to like, they recommend him to like wearing masks. So once he went to the bank, everybody, like even the teller, the security guard, everybody walking around the bank was like wearing masks, which was a little bit more awkward. But usually you don't go to the bank with like fully covered and mask and everything. That was kind of weird during this time. So if you feel weird to go to like the grocery shopping wearing masks, try and go to the bank wearing masks. That was all kind of awkward. Okay, so now that my eye primer is in there, usually I'm gonna go in with more like a neutral color, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you a little bit quick trick. I think I saw this on Manny MUA video like a while ago. So what he does, kind of like putting a little bit more eyeshadow base in the back of your hand like this. And then if you want to change this, work with every single color, you just have to try out different color. So I'm just gonna go in with more like neutral colors. I'm gonna go in with this eccentric color right here. So you're just gonna pack a lot on the back of your like hand like this. And then what you do is you kind of like go in on top of that makeup base. If you can see it, it's kind of like creating a cream color of whatever that color you just pick right here. So it's kind of like turning in that powder eyeshadow into more like a cream base. So you can practically use that on every single color. So if you use more like a vibrant color, but that's just coming like a powder, and you want it maybe a little bit more like creamy, just use then a concealer or more like a creamy eyeshadow base. Would recommend using that one, and just mix them together, then they become like an eyeshadow base, and you just use that and tap that all over your lid. And it's kind of like 2-in-1. You get a little bit more neutral color or more like a vibrant color and a base at the same time. And that way you kind of like prime and neutral your eyelid at the same time. And that's so cool. So with this makeup look, I'm just gonna go in with the first color using the Artist Couture Nude palette. This is like my favorite palette for this year so far. And the first color I'm gonna go in with is called Transcend. This is more like a chocolate cacao color. And with that color, usually, even though I'm gonna do more like a vibrant makeup look, I'm like to put in more like a kind of like a base contouring shade to create more like a shape for your eyes. So what I'm doing is pulling right where my crease is, right here, to define my socket line. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that all the way into the inner corner of my eye, kind of like connecting to the bridge of my nose where my contouring line is right here. So making everything kind of like continuous one direction going that way. So just want my socket to be really defined. And also on the outer corner, I'm just gonna pull it up a little bit, create more like a cat line, tree line, like more like a little bit more cool this way. So the easiest way for you to find like which direction to do is either you can follow from like the inner corner of your lips to the end of your brows. That's what you're gonna put like the shape where your eye is gonna be, or you're gonna go ahead and follow your under eye, the way your eye shape is, just the way it's gonna flip upward, or what direction it's gonna go. Just follow that line and just go in the same direction. So with that, I'm just gonna kind of try to create more like a triangle on the outer corner right here, and squeeze that in right into my socket line, create a depth and definition. And now with a little bit flat brush, I'm just gonna go in with the same color Transcend and go on my bottom lash line to create that under shadow. And after the color Transcend, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more deeper color on the outer corner. So I'm just gonna dip my brush into the color Aesthetics right in there. It's a little bit more deeper chocolate brown. And again, I'm just gonna mainly focus with that color on my outer corner of my eye and bring that a little bit into my socket line. Wiggle and buff, wiggle and buff. Ooh, I love that color. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and bring the color Aesthetics as deep in my socket line as possible. I'm just gonna bring it all the way into my inner corner, right all the way in here, because I want it in here to be a little bit more deeper also, because later when we put in the color, it's gonna be popping a little bit more. And again, just pull that out here a little bit more. Okay, so after a bit of blending, I did go ahead and go in with a smaller brush, and then went in to a little bit more deep in the corner of my eyes. So now you kind of have like the darker in the corner and the darker in the outer corner. I'm going to leave the center blank because we're just going to press in the pigment right on the center. And that way, after you put it in there, you're also going to put on the bottom lashes. So I'm just going to deep and smoke out my bottom lash with the same smaller, fluffier brush, just to make sure. It does take a little bit while for you to like blending out with the color and making everything a little bit more seamless. So now with the bold color right there, I'm just gonna go in and press in one more like cobalt blue, really true blue color. And I found this one, the color from the fairy tale book. I did a review of this one before, so I'm just gonna put the link right down there for you to like, if you want to see the review of this one. It's like my favorite one because it's like a storybook right here. So it looks like exactly a book. So in here is actually have like a color right in here called Print. So this was like kind of like a perfect color I was looking for. It's more like solid cobalt blue, which I love. So I'm just gonna use my finger right there. I'm just gonna press and get a lot of pigment from that color right in there. It's such a nice bold color. So without cutting my crease, I'm just gonna go ahead and press that right on the center of all that color. It's just gonna pop up. Don't worry about like the inner corner. We're just gonna go in and blend that in with like a flat brush a little bit more later, because usually on the center I want it to be really solid bold color, and it's better for you to get the color with like your fingers. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and press that on the same thing on my other eye. And now that I got majority of like eyelid color, I'm just gonna go in with more like a tinier, like really precision brush right here. This is a Sephora brush number 18. So I'm just gonna dip my brush right in there into that blue, cobalt blue color. I'm just gonna make sure my inner corner is also really saturated with that color, making sure that on the outer corner is also saturated. And the important part is just to make sure that it's going all the way down to your lash line. You don't see any empty spaces. The one that easy is just turn your brush upside down like this and kind of go in there. And the same brush that you used earlier for the color Transcend, I'm just going to dip in a little bit of that color, and I'm just going to make sure my outer corner of that blue is a little bit more deeper, and I'm just going to slowly darken my crease with the color Transcend. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to like blending out that blue, the transition between the blue and a little bit more chocolate color right there. I don't want to have like such a harsh line right there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and blend the two together. And with a fluffier brush, you can just go in there afterward and just gonna blend the two together right in there. You can just go back with the blue and the chocolate brown, and also you can also press into color right here called Mink. There is a lot more darker color, but just be careful with that one. I want to have like a blue right on the center, and as it's going out, it's kind of like have like a little bit more like a burn to the edge of the blue. Does that make sense? So it doesn't get too light, but it's getting like really blue and a little bit more burn, and it's gonna gradient now a little bit more lighter. And now with a really sharp angle brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and press into the color Prince, the blue color. And with that color, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a slight, really quick tight line and really bring that blue down to my bottom lash line. Now that my blue and everything is got blended, I'm just gonna go in and do a little bit more like a tight line. So regularly, I'm gonna go in with like a eyeliner pencil to do a tight line, but I feel like it's a little bit more easy for me to do. I just like to go in with more like an angle brush and powder. For me, that's just a little bit more easier. So I'm just gonna go in with the Anastasia MUSE palette. The color right here is called BK. I feel like that's this really good black that I just want to be like as deep black as possible. So now I'm just gonna go in with like an angle brush right here, deep into the color BK. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and go in and do a really tight line for the top line and the bottom lash line. Also, I'm going to use that to wing out my wings. So for tight lining, you just need to go in with a little bit more darker black color. Any palette have like practically have like a dark black color. I love the Anastasia MUSE palette. Her black is really like a matte black, and it's perfect for more like a tight lining. So now I'm just going to go in from my top line to tight line. Also, I'm going to tight line my bottom lash line. And then right after that, I'm just gonna go in and follow my bottom lash line and swing up to a flick and a wing. And you can always sharpening up that tail of your wing by going with more like a Q-tip and just gonna go from the bottom and just going to do a really clean swipe right all the way up. That way it's gonna give you a little bit more sharper wing and making sure the tail is really pointy and sharp. So now that my eye look is right there how I wanted them, later I'm probably gonna go in with more like liquid eyeliner to make them super sharp when I start cleaning up everything. So this is just gonna be the first step for eye. Now I'm just gonna go in and finish my brows and dust off this bake off, and I'll be right back. Hi guys, so I am back. So I did went in and do a little bit some of the stuff in advance. So just to start out, after I dust up all my baking powder, I did went in and do my brows, and the brows products I always use and always my favorite is actually the Sephora brows, retractable brows, and the color I'm using right now is called chocolate brown. I love that one because it's not so dark like black. My hair is already really dark and I don't want my brows to be like as dark, but I still want it to like kind of match it a little bit but slightly lighter. So I'm using chocolate brown for my brows. And after that, I did went in and use to buff in on my skin to make sure everything is blended in. It's actually another product that we did unboxing last week. Actually, this one, my favorite one, is the Bobbi Brown Nude Finish Illuminating Powder. So this one is more like a finishing powder. So I told you what's the difference between the finishing powder and the setting powder from the last video. And again, if you missed that one, don't forget to watch that one right down below. So what it is finishing powder is technically kind of like finishing up your skin. Just like in the title, it's finishing powder. So what it does is kind of like buffing it on top of your skin. So it's so fine that you can't really use this one to like set your foundations. Because it's not powdery enough. It's too fine meal. So what it does, kind of like blending. Just think of it as like a blending powder. So you're using that as like a last step for your skincare, for your foundation products. So what I did, practically just buffing in circular motion, and what that does is gonna give you a little bit more like an airbrush finish. And it's gonna help blending in all your, from like highlighting to your contouring, your bronzer, everything kind of like blends seamlessly together. And I try a lot of different finishing powder from like Hourglass and every single brand. And so far I love and obsessed with the Bobbi Brown ones. This one is actually have skincare benefit in this one also. So I'm gonna keep your skin a little bit more hydrated and also gonna give you a little bit more glowing. And over time you're gonna feel your skin a little bit more not so drying. Then after that, I did went in to use one of the lip liner. My favorite brand for lip liner, that's gonna be the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner, and I show you this one from unboxing last week also. And the color I used was from Pillow Talk collections. Her original Pillow Talk is one of the most popular color lip liner from her collections. It's more like a perfect nude color, and I'm obsessed with that one. But I also need something a little bit more darker, so she came out with the Pillow Talk 2, which is the color that I have on my lips right now. It's slightly darker, so it's going to be a perfect for you to use more like an outside liner for a Pillow Talk lipstick, or it's still going to mimic the natural nude lip liner. So that's what I use for my lips right now, because I want something a little bit more neutral, because the eye look is really bold and I don't want to have like red bold lips either. So that's why I went in with the Pillow Talk nude color. We did also unboxing like a few other lip liner from last week from Ben Minerals, one of my favorite nude brand for lip liner, and also we also try out the Becca one. We're probably gonna try this too on the next video. Oh yeah, I did put on highlighter right up here. So the one that I bought is actually not from Sephora, but I got this one from, I think I got this one from like BoxyCharm a while ago, and that is from the Laura Geller. She is also another popular YouTuber and also on Instagram. Her makeup is amazing, and she also have her own collections of like amazing cosmetics. And this is actually her highlighter. I've been wanting to have this one forever, but I saw this one from like BoxyCharm and like I ordered it. It is amazing. It's a little bit more like a golden tone right here. It is really amazing. So I used more like a highlighting brush. I did went in and put a little bit on the highest point of my cheek, where I will have a little bit more glow to my cheek, and also use that right under the brows, glow under my brows. It kind of like mimic my cheekbones. You don't want it to stop right on your cheekbone. You want to bring all the way up to your brows and to the top of your forehead also. So that's the highlight that I use. I also use that on the center bridge of my nose to highlight my nose a little bit, and on the cupid's bow of my lip before I put on the lip liner. And also I did put on a lash, and the lash I have on, honestly I don't remember what the name of this one, but I'm going to find out what the name of this one is. But it's from Miss X Beauty Lashes. They have amazing affordable lashes. Also you can use the code 20MUSE for additional 20% off. That's already affordable price from Miss X Beauty. I'm going to leave her link right down below. So that's majority where I got all my lashes. So the next up we're going to try on the Patrick Ta. I think this is the Velvet Matte Velvet liquid lipstick. So this one we also unboxing this one from last week unboxing, because this one is Patrick Ta Monochrome Moment. So when you unbox this one, it is so cute and it's so clean. I love all his packaging. So I'm just gonna swatch this right here for you again. So that's gonna be the color on my skin. So now I'm just gonna put that right on top of the color from the Pillow Talk Medium from Charlotte Tilbury. Ooh, it's a little bit more lighter than I thought. That color is definitely much lighter than I thought. But I feel with the combination with the Charlotte Tilbury Medium Pillow Talk 2, it's gonna be a perfect lip liner for the outside, and this one gonna be the perfect nude lipstick. It does have slightly more like a pinker, lighter pink nude to it. It is much lighter than the packaging right in here. Like I thought the color gonna be a little bit more deeper, but actually when you swipe them and put it on, it's a little bit much lighter than I thought it was supposed to be. But so far it feels a little bit, I would say a little bit tacky when you're first putting it on. It's also have like a minty, mentholish taste to it, and it's have like a scent like a minty gum scent, which is kind of nice. And next up we're gonna do blushes from this three right here that we also unboxing and got from Sephora from last week unboxing. So this one is the Ambient Lighting blushes, and this is from Hourglass. Ooh. So the first one right here is again Dim Light. This one right down here is Ethereal Glow, and this one right over here is called Diffuse Heat. So now all I have to do is kind of like pick one to see what's gonna go in with this makeup look. And with looking through all this one, I feel like the one that gonna maybe showing up to my skin is gonna be Diffuse Heat. This one has like more, I feel like has a little bit more color to it. So now with my blush brush, a little more denser brush, I'm gonna swirl that right into the blush right here. And with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and put on the top of my cheekbone. So far, when I first tried this one, I love the packaging. Hourglass packaging is always like amazing, super clean and also super luxurious. Before the blushes, because it's more like a marble lay blush, marble big type of blush right here. It's kind of like mixing all the blush color together. Also have like a finishing powder type of thing that Hourglass always does to combine with their blushes. That create that to make the blush really like kind of like iridescent, really sheen, really light. But for me, I feel like it's a little bit too light. Like, I wish there's a little bit more pigment to it. I know that each blush is like big and look a little bit more different to each other, but I feel like this one is a little bit too light of the color for blush for me. Like, I love it to be a little bit more like you barely see it. You kind of see it, but you don't barely see it. But this one I feel a little bit too light for my liking. And another thing that we have from last week unboxing is going to be the Too Faced lip gloss. So this one is Rich and Dazzling High Shine Sparkling Lip Gloss. So when it's coming out of the box, it's going to look like this. It's super cute and it's super pink. So I'm going to go ahead and slap that on my lips, might as well, because I feel like the Patrick Ta getting a little bit too light. So now I'm just going to add in a little bit more gloss. And the Patrick Ta is not exactly more like a matte finish, it's more like a velvet comfortable matte finish, if you're wondering. Now I'm just going to put a little bit more gloss on top. That's glossy. So far this one is it's decently nice. I don't feel it's the best gloss. It tastes nice, it tastes like candy, but I don't feel like it's going to be the best gloss. It's super cute. It's super cute though. It's have a little bit more shine to it. Yeah. Okay guys, so I guess that is all the makeup review from unboxing from last week. And if you haven't watched the last week video, go ahead and watch that right down with the link right down below. It's the unboxing for the Sephora makeup haul that I got from Sephora. And yeah, thank you hanging out with me during this crazy time, during the quarantine, and with us having to move. So with that said, if you read the title, there's gonna be a goodbye to this studio right here, which we've been in here for like the past 2 years from this house. And now we was fortunate enough to move into one of our dream home. And I hope we're gonna share that dream home for you on the future makeup vlog when we get everything ready and with the studio. So honestly, I'm not sure when's the next video gonna be. This might be gonna be a week or two. Just make sure that we have time to settle in, set up my studio and pick out which studio I want to do. And then yeah, it's all kind of stuff and packing, and we still have to do a lot of stuff to pack and moving. So by the time you're watching this video, it's the last week in here. So this video is gonna be a goodbye to this studio right here and moving to a bigger and better studio in the future in a week. So yeah, if you happen to like this makeup look right here, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel right down below, and don't forget to ring the bell button right here for next week, not next week, future video, probably 2 weeks. And don't forget to, while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe to all my channel at don't forget to like, subscribe to on my channel at bella.c.snow. And also you can just follow our moving process by going to Instagram, Insta story. We post kind of like a lot there during our move probably, so you can check us right up there also. So I guess until next video, thank you, stay safe, bye bye.